For the first time in quite a while, we are back in the year 2001 for Let's Play WWE 2001, or my booking of the WCW invasion of WWE. I know it's been a while, and much like all the others that we've recapped thus far, this one is no different. As we look ahead, the invasion really hasn't started yet, but new storylines have, as the Brothers of Destruction have begun to feud with Rikishi and Haku, and Chris Benoit has begun a feud with Stone Cold Steve Austin over the world title. Chyna began her feud with Lita. RTC and the Dudleys started feuding right out the night after Backlash. The Hardys are challenging Eddie Guerrero, specifically starting with Jeff Hardy is challenging Eddie Guerrero for the WWF European Championship at this upcoming pay-per-view, which is Judgment Day. And then you also have Edge and Christian against the APA, Kurt Angle against Chris Jericho, and, of course, the WWF invasion. All that has been happening recently. And there was just something else I wanted to add in, since I know I can. And not just because I don't have a time limit on the show. It's actually because I know I'm still under the time limit for the show. And that is a promo from Chris Jericho following his match, directing it at Kurt Angle to continue building up their feud. And I think that's it. You know what? I'm gonna add in Brian Adams, Brian Clark, and Booker T. This way they talk about the invaders, and they talk about the main event. So either way, now we get to run the show, our first show with WWF in quite a long time. But either way, much like I have been doing in recent weeks, or recent months, well, since I started, since I started this season, I have every so often had WCW contracted employees wrestle a dark match on the show against either local talent or WWE employees, and this is no different because Sean O'Haire and Chuck Palumbo were one of the top tag teams in WCW, and now they're versing Kai and Tai tonight. So either way. But now we move forward as the opening segment rather. We see Chris Benoit, Steve Austin, Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H start the show, specifically with Benoit starting the show, saying that he deserves the world title shot more than Triple H. And this brings out Triple H, and then Austin progressively, first Chris Benoit, then Triple H, then Steve Austin, is how it goes. And then Mick Foley shocks the crowd here in Puerto Rico, which I know, but, I did it for heat, and I can't really, I can't change the arena for SmackDown, even if I wanted to. But either way, Mick Foley makes his way out to the ring and declares that the main event tonight will be Chris Benoit versus Triple H, the winner faces Steve Austin in 2 weeks at Judgment Day for the WWF Heavyweight Championship. And the show kicks off with the, I guess you could say, beginning of the feud between the APA and Edge and Christian, with Bradshaw going up against Christian. Yes, this means that next week on Raw or next week on SmackDown, I haven't decided yet, Farouk will go against Edge. But I will say this, Bradshaw versus Christian, a very good opener for a good opener for the show, and surprisingly, Bradshaw was able to go over Christian. So, it's a good way to kick off the show. And then we slide down, we move to the announce position with Michael Cole and Taz talking up the main event tonight. Chris Benoit versus Triple H, and they question what part may Steve Austin play in the match tonight, and if Steve does play a part in the match, will it be a physical role, or will Steve just let the chips fall where they may, as far as who becomes his number one contender for Judgment Day? And also the announcers talk up the appearance of more former WCW contracted employees this past Monday night on Raw, with Booker T, Chronic, Stacy Keibler, and I think possibly either Cannon or Sean Stasiak appearing this past Monday night. And they handle it a little bit differently than Paulie and Jim Ross on Raw do, but they still question what possible motivations do the former WCW employees have, not showing up in a physical manner, but just showing up and sitting in the crowd for a WWE show or a WWF show. But I guess for that you'll have to keep watching and find out. And then we move to the next match with Jeff Hardy going up against Dean Malenko, and Jeff gets the win against Dean Malenko. This match is partially just to see how the Hardy Boys, specifically Jeff, would do in singles competition. Not that I'm thinking about breaking up the Hardys, but if you remember, in 2001, the Hardys were one of the tag teams that got a singles push, I think as a way to get new people in the tag team division, and on the top of the tag team ladder. But I also think it was just the idea of maybe eventually the Hardys could break up and become singles wrestlers and become valuable members of WWE's singles roster. And also, I don't know if it had anything to do with the possibility of a brand extension, but that could also have been possible too, that they were planning on breaking up the Hardys, and they were just testing the waters of them as singles wrestlers. And then we move to the post-match interview as Jeff Hardy, as Kevin Kelly meets up with Jeff outside the ring and asks Jeff what it means to him knowing that he gets his first shot at singles gold this Sunday night, or in 2 weeks' time, at Judgment Day against European champion Eddie Guerrero. And Jeff says, first of all, this isn't the end of me and my brother. We're just trying to see what it's like to go one-on-one with someone. We're just testing the water. Me and my brother have accomplished a lot as a tag team. You know what? Let's just say I give Jeff the card and say, what does it mean to you to get a title shot? A singles title shot. Make sure people know this isn't the end of the Hardy Boys. and they're just on a break. Oh, Eddie. Ignore that. I'm probably gonna scrap Eddie's title. I'm probably gonna scrap Eddie's heel turn or babyface turn. I don't remember. See, that's even what it is. I don't even remember what it was, so I can't even say what it's going to be because I don't even remember if he was turning heel or if he was turning face. I don't remember. Point is, I'm gonna scrap it either way. Now we move to the next match, Scotty 2 Hotty against Chavo Guerrero, and surprisingly, Chavo Guerrero loses to Scotty 2 Hotty. And yes, this does mean that Scotty 2 Hotty will be getting a light heavyweight title shot against the current lightweight champion. Whether the match will take place at the pay-per-view or not, I don't know. Simply put, Kane and The Undertaker come out, call out Haku and Rikishi. They don't show up. And Taker says, "You boys have made the biggest mistake of your lives, because if you wanted a fight, you picked a fight with the wrong people. Because we're gonna kick your ass and enjoy it. Because you've picked a fight with a pissed off Undertaker and my brother Kane. We're both pissed off and you picked the wrong time to piss us off even more." And now we head backstage with Hunter and Stephanie talking up the main event tonight with Chris Benoit and how Triple H will beat Benoit and will take the title away from his bitter rival, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And now we move to the women's match, the women's portion of the show, with Lita going up against Trish Stratus in a solid match for Trish, who just became a wrestler recently, and a solid match for Lita, who's slowly but surely becoming a top woman in the company. But following the match, this is where things are going to start. This is where I wanted to talk about, rather. Lita grabs the mic and starts talking up her match against Chyna at Judgment Day, or the supposed match against her and Chyna at Judgment Day, and how women, that her and Chyna are proving that women are more than just a pretty face and can fight and compete at a higher level than some of the men. And this brings out both Jackie and Ivory. Ivory first, then Jackie. And Jackie puts over Lita, but says that women have always been more than just a pretty face, but now the spotlight is just growing a little bit more. But I don't want to be left out of the spotlight. So how about this? You want to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that you deserve to be in that title match? There's two of us that also want a shot. So how about this? How about a triple threat match next week? You, me, and Ivory. And then you could prove that you deserve to face Chyna. Lita accepts, and that means that there will be a triple threat match next week. Lita, Ivory, and Jackie. Winner goes against Chyna at Judgment Day. And I just want to say this. What I want to talk about with this is that I want to start letting the women have a more serious place in the company rather than bra and panties matches and all that other shit. And if it was up to me, I'd avoid about that 5 or 6 year period between about 2005, well, about now until recently. Because I think with people like them and Trish coming up and other people that I could sign off a free agency or what have you, that the women's division could not only be good for a couple of years, but also have a healthy transition away from people like Chyna, people like Jacqueline, people like Ivory, into where Lita and Trish may be leading the charge for the division, and where women are serious competitors and not fodder for bathroom breaks. So let's just see how that goes, because that's another project that I have to go along with the underlying big picture being the invasion. And now you have Chris Jericho against Jason Blade. Jericho, it's just an enhancement match to give him an excuse to be out there to cut a promo on Kurt Angle. And he runs down Angle and runs down Angle's list of accomplishments since coming to the company. Since coming to the company. And sorry, my charger got loose. Got loose. I don't know why. But it's all fixed now. So, pardon the interruption. He runs down all of Angle's accomplishments since coming to the company, from being world champion to being intercontinental champion to being European, all that stuff. And he says, Kurt, this isn't the first time I wanted to walk up to you, slap you across the face, and knock that smug look off your face, because Kurt, I'm just as good as you, and I'm here to prove it. I'd have Jericho say something like that he's out to earn respect and show that he's just as good as a former world heavyweight champion, even though Chris has never won the world title. Now we move to the Dudley Boys, as the Dudley Boys put over the cheap way that they lost this past Monday to Right to Censor, and how they're gonna get their revenge because Stevie Richards may be writing a check with his mouth that his boys can't cash. And then Devon pulls out the trademark catchphrase, "Thou shalt not fuck with the Dudleys." Well, toned down a little bit because that's the ECW catchphrase, but you get the point. What the fuck is wrong with this season? I get the announcing. It was penalized for the type of finish, really? Poor announcing, low heat, work rate of the announcing work of Michael Cole and Taz. Chris Benoit was penalized for motivation. Okay, I guess it had enough, but fuck me. Increased our popularity fuck. Hopefully things improve when the actual invasion starts. Don't ask why I'm actually still here, I don't know. I know I usually finish the finish. I know I usually finish things before I get into this menu, but I just wanted to give a little bit extra time just in case. Jericho thinks Chuck Palumbo's good. I just wanted to give a little extra time just in case. I mean, I just want to point this out, because I haven't pointed this out in a while. I think two things could be the problem. I thought taking away the backstage rating would be good, and it has worked a little bit because the backstage rating hasn't really penalized me that much. But it just seems like the idea that he's not good enough and Taz isn't good enough. That they're not good enough to be announcers at this point in WWE, and that's, I mean, I could understand their work experience being the issue, but just the idea that they're not good enough. Like, Michael Cole should be better than. Taz should be better than. You know, it's either that or people in the file, like the wrestlers, should be better. You know, because or more popular, or maybe some of them should be less popular. But my problem is this. My problem is this. You have all this going on, and you have me dropping 32 popularity in 32 regions almost every single fucking show. And you have me pondering why something like Chris Benoit and Triple H could get a 73, yet it says sensational heat and exceptional in ring work, and it gets a 73 because of this, and that. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I don't understand. I want to keep this going for a lot longer, but at this point I don't know how much longer I can keep it going. Because if the game doesn't let me keep it going, it may not be possible. But I'm going to say this, that even if I drop in size, it may help. Who knows? It may help in the long run, the drop in size. So, let me know down in the comment section below what you think the problem is with this season, what you think the problem is with this database. Is it me? Is it the database? How can I fix it? How can I make it better? How can I make this season go like it should be going and not like it is? Let me know down in the comment section below, and, you know, don't, because I feel like every show should be around here, not here. And it should be where people like Chris Jericho and Kurt Angle should be able to main event, and Eddie Guerrero should be able to main event if they're versing the right person. You know, but that's not the case. So let me know down in the comment section below, how could I possibly fix this? If you know, if you don't, let me know what you'd like to see, because as always, feedback is more than welcomed and appreciated. But if you don't want to leave a comment, you can always leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this that you can only find right here at Wrestling Express. Till next time, later.